All right, this is kind of the checklist and making sure you have everything ready for Unit 3, Lesson 13. This is the animated scene project and computer science discoveries. So let's kind of start from the beginning. The first thing that I asked you to do is make sure that you have at least 3 sprites. So when you click on this animation tab, see that you have 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the minimum you need. One of them could be a background, and then you have 2 others, but a minimum of 3. Okay, now to make sure that those are programmed correctly, your first lines of code should be by looking at the sprites part of the toolbox. You always grab this create sprite block and the set animation block. Okay, and you need to do that for each one of your sprites. So you'll notice I have a dog, I had a bee, and I have a bird. So I made lines 1 and 2 about my dog. 4 and 5 are the create the sprite and set the animation for the bird. And 6 and 7 are create the sprite and set the animation bird, bee, bird, dog. Okay, so at the minimum, you'll have at least 6 lines of code up on top. Now, I also had to add some properties like scale because initially my dog was too big. In fact, I'll go back. The original size at 1, see how big the dog was? I was like, nah, I don't like that. I think it's a little too big. So I made it be 6/10 size or 60%, and then it looked a little better. Okay, next thing is then you have to go into this yellow part of the toolbox, grab this very first thing called function draw and drag that over. This is called the draw loop. Okay, inside here, now because I just used a plain color for my background, that has to be first. If you used a sprite, so for example, if you went in here and you said, oh, I wanted to use one of these for my background, that's fine. Okay, then you wouldn't have to put this background color in as the first thing, but I used a plain color. Now you can just type in there, like I could put in yellow and then the background's yellow. Problem is my text is also, I believe, yellow, so that's not a good choice. I think if I just say something like pink, then I should get some contrast. There we go. Okay, next. Now, so you have your line of background. You have, here's my text down here at the bottom with text size, and I have a rectangle there at the bottom as well. But as long as you have, well, let me just go back up here and say have a background color. Then you need to make stuff move. And when I say make things move, this is the animate part. So take a look at what's happening. So first, take a look at my bird. My bird started off on kind of the right-hand side of the screen, and it's flying to the left. So to make that happen, I went into sprites. I said, okay, that's horizontal. Grab sprite.x, put that in there, make it say bird so that it matches up here. And then I said, I want my bird.x value where it started, which was like at 300 here, and take it, that value, and subtract 2. So it says bird.x equals, take that bird.x number, subtract 2. Okay? And that's what gives this illusion of it flying to the left. Same thing with my dog, but I wanted my dog to go to the right horizontally. So I went and grabbed another sprite.x property. Okay, and I'll show you. If I just drag that in by itself, it sets it up here to just be renamed. And then over here, you could go to math and grab add or subtract, depending which direction you want, and continue from there. Same thing with my bumblebee. You see my bumblebee is moving with addition to the right, just like the dog is, okay? Different number means different speed. Now, I only really need to have one of these moving by using a math command like add or subtract. The other criteria is that you're using from math random number. This gives a bouncy, shaky type of movement, and that's one of the requirements. So I decided while my B is going horizontally, I'm also going to make it bounce up and down a little bit, which is why I grabbed a sprite dot Y, that's vertical, grabbed that property, and then instead of writing a math expression here, I just went to math and grabbed random number. And I said, the B is set at 50, 50, so I'm just going to choose numbers around 50, and there it goes. Okay? Then notice this is the stuff inside the draw loop. Then grab a draw sprites and then go into, the drawing part of the toolbox. And this is where you'll program your text. Color, size, here's the words and where it's positioned. I also added this little gray rectangle at the bottom, okay? And that's all you need. So 3 sprites. I have a couple of properties on my sprites. I'm using scale up here. I used an X property and a Y property. So I wanted at least 3. That's good. Then you wanted text to show up with a color and a size. Yes. And then you need movement. And the movement has to have one that is a smooth movement, meaning you're using addition or subtraction. That's something called the counter pattern. And then one that is bouncy, shaky, which is random number. Okay? That's your checklist. When you've got it all done, make sure that you get to the end of that lesson and hit submit. Good luck and reach out if you have questions.